Welcome one, welcome all, another episode of the Josh Potter Show. Thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for watching last week's episode if you caught it with Rob Eiler. That was a real special treat, a marquee episode so far in the canon of the Josh Potter Show. If you want to get a hold of the show, the email is joshpottershow@ymhstudios.com. As far as plugs go, Joshy boy don't got many. COVID is in its second wave and it's shut down many of my live endeavors, but there is one show on the books for March of 2021. That's right, March 21st, going to be at the West Palm Improv. And I don't even know if the tickets are on sale yet, but I want to let you know I'm coming there in advance and as early as in advance as I possibly can. If you want to watch me outside the confines of this hour here every week, well, you can follow me on Twitch or you can subscribe there as well. Twitch.tv/Josh_Potter. Also at Josh_Potter is my Instagram, and you can follow along on Twitter as well at J_Potter. Keep rating and reviewing and subscribing on the iTunes and all of that. I can't tell you how much that helps, and I thank you for continuing to do that. We're here in the Nice Boy Clock now. Thank you for that instrumental, by the way. That is Red Cup by Griff. I'm really abrupt with ending them. I'm really abrupt with ending the instrumentals. I'm like, boom, plugs are over, and that's the end of that. But our boy, by the way, Ennie, is in the news once again, Cecil Wilson, and he was recently in an interview discussing something, but I'll get to that in a moment. There was a video clip that I came across of Cecil being very Cecil, and if you don't know already, Ennie pointed this out, and I always knew there was something off about Russell Wilson. You know, he's got this good boy image. He goes up there with his wink and his smile, talking about God and Jesus and such, and Ennie found him to be suspect. What was it, Ennie, that tipped you off initially? Just the way he looked?
Yeah, man, it was his smile. It was the way that he smiled. He smiled in like this inhuman way. You know, it's too genuine. It's not
like
right.
He's full of malarkey.
Yeah, it's just disingenuous. It's so genuine that it's disingenuous. You know what I mean?
And ever since that this nugget has been put into my head, now every time I look at Russell Wilson, I think something's a bit off. And you hear it in his interviews too, when he's speaking and things like that. You know, he's just given what you want to hear. And I always thought there was something peculiar with his marriage. It turns out he got fucked over in this instant. In his marriage, he was married to his high school sweetheart, who he had a baby with. He then went on to win the Super Bowl, secured the bag, if you will, got a huge contract, and then all of a sudden he was with Ciara. Or Sierra, excuse me. I church up her name a bit when I say it. I go, Ciara, and people are like, what are you doing? It's Sierra. But nevertheless, I thought it was him, you know, kicking his baby mama to the curb, but we find out that she might have been, Golden Tate. Can you do that for the Nice Boy Clock? Can you mimic stuff for the Nice Boy Clock? Doing a little that kind of thing? No? Well...
Simulated. Yep, that's simulated. We're just going to pretend that was something else.
Just pixelate that, lollipop eating that I was doing, whatever it was. Having a corn dog. I don't know. Nevertheless, you caught on. You catch my drift. I always thought that was the case, but no, it was the woman who did it, so fine. He moves on to Sierra, and now they're so in love. They're always posting these mushy things on the Instagram, really putting it out there. I think couples that do this are gross. I don't care if you're famous or not. If you're out there doing lovey-dovey stuff on Instagram, PU. I mean, that means one of you cheated, mostly, right, Ennie? Isn't that what you catch when you see couples doing that? It's like, okay, one of you did something bad, and now this is how you make up for it. You're really putting it out there.
Yeah, I feel like it's like he was on a timeout almost, because Instagram is only for sus shit. So if you're on there posting about how good your relationship is, yeah, you in trouble. You did
something happened in that relationship. You know, that's the kind of relationship where they're like, we're so in love, everything's so great, and then the cops are at their house that night and they're posting online like, never again. Well, you know what I mean? It's the same dynamic. But let's see. This is Sierra and Russ celebrating what I believe to be their anniversary. I don't know. Let's see what this video is again.
You smell like a nice, spicy chicken sandwich.
Hey, you know how those go. You smell like you about to get pregnant again. Is what you smell like.
You always got to go
you keep
there.
getting all up close to me like that.
Oh my
I'm telling you know how I work. Man. You know what I mean?
Stop,
Y'all keep playing with me.
please.
I'm telling y'all need to get that RNC fellas. Get the RNC fragrance.
RNC fragrance.
I'm telling y'all, it's
Oh, so it's an ad. That was all a commercial. You smell like you about to get pregnant. What kind of smell is that? Does that mean What is the nice boy timer at here? Can we see real quick? Give me a... Oh, Jesus Christ. What does he smell? Is she ovulating?
I don't know, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, normal people don't say these things.
That's what I'm saying. It's creepy. It's like, you smell like you about to get pregnant. That's wild. That's like what Tracy Morgan says when he's on PCP or something like that. You know what I mean? That's not what people say to their wife. You smell like chicken. She said you smell like chicken. I don't know. If I'm the guy, the marketing guy on the other end, I go, hey guys, great. I like having you both in the ad. You're in your kitchen. Wonderful. That's great. Looks like you're just having a natural thing. I don't know. Maybe change the verbiage slightly. You smell like you about to get pregnant is not really what our byline should be for the fragrance, you know? We don't really want that one on the box necessarily. But Sus, he was in an interview today, and he was talking about how he loves... Now, this happens to a lot of football players. You guys in the back don't know because you don't follow these athletes, but oftentimes football players, especially quarterbacks, many of them, also get drafted by Major League Baseball. And the baseball draft is so bizarre. They can just draft anyone on the planet, and then the person doesn't have to play for them. They can just be like, I want Bill Clinton. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can just pick, if a human being is alive, they can just draft them. It's so bizarre. So Russell Wilson was drafted by... he was drafted by the Texas Rangers, I want to say. He was drafted twice. I should have looked that up. People are going to kill me. I hate that too, by the way. This is the new, back in the day when you can go on the radio, you used to just be able to talk and no one was like fact checking you. You know what I mean? Now that's like hindsight's 2020 and they're always like, you said, like, I think I said a number wrong last week. It's like, yeah, I misspoke. I've been talking for an hour and I said a number wrong. My bad. You know, Jesus, what were you, I thought you were looking. Nadav loves when I get like a little angry, I think.
I think he's laughing because when you said it, he mentioned it to me. He was like, did you just say 3,500,000?
Oh, yeah. The world mentioned it to me, by the way, a million times. They're like, you said 3,500,000. I didn't even realize it. If you would have said that's not a number, Josh, I would have been like, oh, that was stupid. Of course. So I'm trying to get a concise answer here. Because Russell, you see, he was drafted like multiple times in Major League Baseball during his time there. And he never obviously, I think he played like in spring training once, something crazy like that. But regardless, he was in this interview talking about baseball, how baseball is his first love. And that he loves the game of baseball. He probably could have been a better baseball player than he is a football player. Now, this is a man who has won 2 Super Bowls, and he's going to be a candidate for the Hall of Fame. He thinks he's going to be a better baseball player than a football player. I mean, maybe, but what balls on this guy? And if I'm a teammate of Russell Wilson, I go, where's your heart lie, sir? You know, maybe your heart's not in this football thing. You know, I'm just saying, a little sus. It's a little sus. And then he's going to tell me, you smell like you on a baby inside your body. Try that out on a lady, folks. You know, when you're trying to compliment a woman and you're like, what's that fragrance? You smell like you want me to impregnate you, girl. I miss the old days of radio when you could just spout off and say things and no one was there to fact check you. And there wasn't even Google. So you had to have like a producer that knew what you were talking about. You know, now you can just say, like, these guys, they don't know anything about sports. We're doing sports segments. And these guys over here, they don't know. They're like, what's football? And I can still do the show because Google exists. You see, that's the difference. That's the big game changer. Isn't that fun? But back in the day, I remember there was a man on the radio by the name of John Otto. And the only reason I'm bringing him up, there's no real special reason or any particular note about John Otto. I just am going to start using his voice for drops, and I need you to know who he is because you're going to be like, what is that? And so I just thought I would introduce him to you. This man was on Buffalo radio. Imagine a man who was alive in the 50s, and he was time warped to the 90s, and he had to live in society in the 90s, but he was really just a buttoned up 50s sort of gentleman. And that's what John Otto was. He was on the radio forever. And he was on the radio up until basically he died in 1999. It's crazy. And I remember listening to him as a little kid, and I would just be like, this guy's insane. And then when I started working in radio, everyone I came across was like, isn't he insane? And I was like, that guy's insane. And everyone would pass around tapes of him. And I lost some over the years, but I've come across some thanks to a colleague. And plenty of people have better John Otto stories. I don't have any. I never came across him. He died before I was even I was fucking 13 years old. Sure, I got into radio young, but not that young. But I mean, like here, for instance, imagine a man, if you will, from the 50s discussing Limp Bizkit on the radio. This is in 1999, this man discussing Limp Bizkit on the radio. This is his thoughts on it.
The anti-women stance is clear in these lyrics. Limp Bizkit's song. Gee, if I hear about them again, I'll throw up. It's murder, she wrote. You barely heard a word as she choked. It wasn't nuttin', N-U-T-T-I-N, it wasn't nuttin', these mindless, mental dwarves, troglodytes, cave people.
He's just so outraged that they would spell nothing with 2 T's. Imagine if he was alive today. God, I wish he was on the radio today. And he would talk about everything. Here's him talking about like Warped Tour coming to town, which did a lot.
She attended the Warped Tour in LaSalle. All you got to do is hear Warped. That ought to be enough. In LaSalle Park, and endured sets by Eminem and Blink-182. I know they're performers. They say a lot of this stuff in their music to shock people. I try not to let it bother me, but it can be scary, the jerk. It can be scary. People are trying to pull you into the mosh pit. I don't mind people jumping up and down at a concert, but I hate it when you have to spend the whole time trying to keep them away from you.
Warped Tour. I don't know why I love this man so much, but here, and he's talking about your friends here.
Your friends are the guys who dress up in baggy pants and try to emulate the inner city blacks and go around talking about homes, don't they? Homes this, homes that.
Is that your friends, Annie? No. But this guy would take calls like that all the time and just say problematic shit that people would be like, what the fuck? But he was like out of a time machine. I mean, he would take calls and just yell at people too, like this.
By chance, I was going home and listening.
Well, don't give us the history of your interest in the program. I don't care about that, not a fig.
And I don't care about your right conservative view.
Oh, you keep saying this, you idiot woman! Idiot woman! Idiot! Can't abide such idiocy any longer. 886-645.
That is, can't abide. That is the motto of this program as well. Can't abide such idiocy. Idiot woman. But no, that's John Otto, the great John Otto. So if you have any more tapes floating around, those are what I came across I just found those, and I asked my buddy to send them on over, and I took them from a fucking cassette tape and put them into digitized form, and I'm so glad the files still exist. We're out of the Nice Boy Hour. Thank you for getting through it. Every time the Nice Boy Hour ends, I feel a sigh of relief, you know? And so now I thought we'd bring up the biggest fuckboys in the history of time, the shitty band Trapt. perfect for
Queef of the Week.
Yeah, that was a good long one. So Trapt and I have a bit of a sordid past. I'll tell you this, I have attended a Trapt concert at my day and age, back in the day, back in the early aughts, when their hit Headstrong, I'll take you on. That was a big hit. We're going to get DCMA'd for that if I sing it too closely to them, if it resembles it too closely.
I think we're good.
All right, good. Headstrong, I'll take you on. Headstrong, I'll take on anyone. So, anywho, Trapt over the years, they still exist apparently, and they're doing shows and whatnot, and you think, oh, that's good for them. Nickelback's doing the road again, a couple of the others are reuniting, of these old school new metal, I guess you would call them, bands. And back when COVID first initially began, I noticed that Trapt was doing shows, and they were doing the old COVID denier sort of thing. And it was aligning a lot with the MAGA crowd. The Twitter account became sort of a MAGA account all of a sudden, almost like a one of those bots where it was like, it was in the profile and everything like that. And forgive me, but I cannot read what I wrote many months ago. If you want to refresh me on, so this is all I did was tweet about this article. I tagged them in it. That was probably my mistake, but I tweeted the article. And this is what I wrote. Annie, if you could recite what I wrote for me.
You put, my argument for letting people die. P.S. Always found it funny that the band's hit is Headstrong, and their lead singer has the biggest dumbhead I've ever seen. 9/11 is the only reason we allowed Trapt Official to happen in the first place.
I don't even remember. Okay, so what did I write that in context to?
You wrote that because they were still doing shows and denying the virus. So they said, no virus going to disrupt our lives. What a great weekend of packed shows in Pennsylvania, New Jersey. You all rocked. To all the people living their lives to the fullest.
I was trying to understand my 9/11 joke. I'm sure it was good. I don't know why. But nevertheless, 9/11 is the only reason we allowed Trapt to happen in the first place. I guess that's true. I don't know why. Huh.
Nadav saying maybe because that song came out around 9/11?
It did, you're right. And maybe because we were just being nice to everybody. I'm trying to remember where my frame of mind was at the point. But nevertheless, I tagged them in it. And it's not even... The post is mostly about the lead singer's big dumb head, which, by the way, is massive. He has a giant fucking head, to the point where if you ever see him live, you're like, how is his neck not snapping? Is that the Elephant Man? But, so I mean, yeah, that was the body of the post. It really wasn't as much about the COVID as it was, yeah, look at his giant head. It's huge. I wish I had something to put next to it. Look at that one profile picture there. I mean, is that fucking, it looks like Stonehenge. I mean, Jesus.
That is a big ass head.
Right? Look at the one left of that. Two to the left of that one. Look at that head to neck ratio with his shoulders. I mean, that looks like a gargoyle or something on the side of a building, Looks like something the aliens put here. But nevertheless, he has a huge head. So that's all I wrote. I like that one says crapped, by the way. That's like the third image in when you type it in. Hilarious.
I literally just put Trapt singer head.
Yeah, and that's like the fucking first thing. And by the way, I feel bad for the rest of the guys in the band because I don't know that they share any of these views. In fact, I think at one point they made him go, can you write at the profile like this is just you typing these things? So this isn't really, I feel bad if you're like the bass player in Trapt and you're like, I was a fan, I don't know. But so anyway, I tweet that and then they did get upset and they did catch wind of it because I tagged them in it. And what did they write? You would not have to worry about playing any shows during the outbreak. No one comes to see you, man. And with the shoulder shrug, which, at the time they were right. I mean, they weren't wrong. I mean, no one was buying really any tickets to see me around that time. And so, hey, that's fine. But I said, you're right. Someday I hope to sell 75 tickets doing the same shit I did 20 years ago too. And they didn't like that much because the next one, you know how they say like their Headstrong will take on anyone? Apparently not. They don't take on anyone after all. Dark day. So then I noticed people were jumping on the bandwagon to shit on Trapt, and that was very fun. But then I started feeling bad, so I started doing like a hashtag like be nice to Trapt or something like that, and people gave backhanded compliments and things like that. But through all the melee, all of a sudden, Louis J. Gomez, comedian out of New York City who runs Gas Digital from the Legion of Skanks podcast, Real Ass Podcast, believe you me, I can list all his credits, you know. Somehow he gets swept up in the melee and gets tagged into things. And he replies, why am I tagged in this horse shit? Trapt is to music what Josh Potter is to comedy. Shout out Louis J. Gomez. I was like sad because I obviously Trapt blows, but also it's kind of like, all right, maybe I am. That's cool that I'm the anything to comedy, you know? That works out. So I didn't know how to take that, but, you know, I thought it was funny at the very least. It made my day that Lewis tweeted something about me. That was fun. But yeah, so Trapt in a little bit of hot water once again. And now I missed out on all this because I've been blocked and then unblocked to get yelled at by them and then reblocked. So I missed out on all this fun. But apparently now, not only do they, you know, take up arms for the election and its fraudulence, and they take up arms for anti-PC, cancel culture, bop, 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 and they take up arms for the COVID isn't as bad as they make it out to be, bop, bop, bop. Now they're taking up arms for pedophiles. So, interesting pivot, I don't think, here. But this was a response to a story about an older woman fucking a young male. We know these all the time happen in schools and things like that. And Trapt is doing the old trope of like, attaboy, that kind of thing. And here we have a tweet of theirs where it says, a 15-year-old male and a 25-year-old female is not pedophilia, you fucking moron. Well, actually, it is. I'm afraid. It is 1,000% pedophilia. That's exactly what that's actually the definition of pedophilia. And then he writes afterwards, you are an idiot. I don't know who he's talking to this guy. This guy talks to literally anybody who tweets to him. So you know you have a sad, sick human being, right? Like when someone's just like on Twitter replying to everybody, it's just, you know that there's a sadness there. And I do kind of feel bad for all the sad thoughts that are in that giant dumb head of his. But he writes here, you are an idiot. I never said anything like that. But someone was like, so you don't think it's pedophilia? And he's like, you're an idiot. I never, even though he just said that. I said I wouldn't care if a 15-year-old boy banged his 25-year-old teacher. That's it. Oh. Thanks for clarifying. And then he goes on to, what does he say next? I don't call a 24-year-old woman who takes advantage of a 15-year-old boy who is entirely through puberty a pedophile. This guy just loves, like, it's like, you know, like, okay, say you're digging a hole and then you hit a pipe and water is spewing out of it and you're like, whoa, we hit a main line. He would be the guy that's like, I think we should keep going. And he doubles down even more. I think that's the end of the tweets that we've gotten. But since then, he's like, no, wait. You know, he even talks about how he'd like pat the kid on the head and things like that. It's interesting that he goes, a 15-year-old kid that's fully through puberty. Like, what, did he check his balls? Like, how does he know? How does he know? Everyone's different when they go through puberty, right?
I have some breaking news for you, sir.
He checked his balls? Is that the breaking news? Who's blocked by Trapt now?
No. Account suspended.
Oh, wow.
Twitter suspends accounts which violate the Twitter rules.
Which was promoting pedophilia, probably.
I feel like that probably one of the things he did, yeah.
Headstrong, I'll take you on. Headstrong to take on anyone. What was the other frame they had, or the other song they had was Still Frame? I don't remember how it goes. That's how like deep I got. Still frame in my mind. Okay, so let us get into some sports, shall we? This one comes to us by way of Hendog himself. Hey, Hendog! How come you didn't put that on there? Usually he does, right? So we have a little bit of an update on a former topic of discussion. We all know Mr. Tom Brenneman, right? He said the old F word and not the good one. If you recall, had to make a bit of an apology on the air. The famous apology, as we all know, it's come to infiltrate our own apologies here on the program. Well, Tom Brenneman has a new job. And that's right, he's going to be putting on a headset again. He wasn't sure if he'd ever put on a headset again, but here he is back once again. He will be doing the play-by-play for the Roberto Clemente League in Puerto Rico, which I found very interesting. Not quite the majors, by the way, kind of a step down, but still back into the broadcast booth. And I kept wondering, like, what if he made a similar gaffe in the Puerto Rican League? You know what I mean? He'd have to come out and apologize again. Lo siento. Por decir. ¿Cómo se dice fag? Vado. Oh, there it is. Fly ball profundo al jardín central. 4-0. Lo siento. No idea if I said anything right there, for the record.
You actually got a lot of that right.
Do you speak Spanish? How do you fucking know?
Yeah, actually, I speak enough of it, enough to know that you were right, yeah.
Huh. What, just the I'm sorry?
You said I'm sorry, and then you said 4-0, right? What else did you say?
I said fly ball profundo. I should have said ballo, but I said fly ball profundo el jardín central.
Yeah, Jardín and central, I don't know.
That's a deep fly ball to center field.
Center field, sure, yeah.
Yeah, fact check me. I don't fucking know. But congratulations to Tom Brenneman getting back on his feet down there in old Puerto Rico doing there's only 5 teams in that league, so I think he's just going to be the fucking play-by-play guy for the entire league, which is interesting. But elsewhere in sports, a gentleman who I found to be, this guy is one of the most fucking brutal, savage players to ever put on the helmet. And he played in a backfield, or in a defense, with other savages like Pac-Man Jones. And I mean, this fucking Bengals defense at the time between 2012 and like 2015 was unbelievable. I'm talking, of course, of Vontaze Burfict. And he's the kind of guy where you see him and you go, this is not a guy that, seems like he'd be too nice to fuck around with. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't do practical jokes to Vontaze Burfict. And he just was one of the most aggressive dudes that I feel like I've ever seen. And he's undrafted, by the way, and he rose to the starting levels. I mean, that takes some kind of guts like you wouldn't believe. Well, he got in a bit of trouble, and that's because he beat up a security guard. Why? Because he couldn't find a pizza. Yeah, exactly. He couldn't find pizza. I'll tell you. So Vontaze Burfict, okay? NFL linebacker arrested, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So what it says here, multiple sources tell us Burfict and at least one other person were looking for a restaurant at the Cosmo in Las Vegas, which is a casino, obviously, in Las Vegas. They were looking for a restaurant called Secret Pizza, which, by the way, in the place, it's intentionally hard to find. It's supposed to be like a secret. You know, it's like part of the lore of the casino. So it's supposed to be part of the whole thing where you're like, you got to find it. You know what I mean? It's a secret. It's not like well known where this pizza is. It's like speakeasy for pizza. It's hidden, and it's got 4 stars on Yelp, by the way. So who gives a shit? But anyways, we're told Burfict and his crew were having a tough time locating the place, and at some point they felt like security was following them around. At one point, there was an incident between Vontesi and the security guards, and the guards claiming Burfict got physical. The imagery of Vontesi Burfict walking around the Cosmo looking for secret pizza and getting so frustrated that he can't find it is hilarious, according to this article here. But apparently, he was looking around for it to the point where no one was telling him where it was, and so he started getting frustrated to the point where he laid his hands on the security guard. Could you imagine this man? Tell him where the fucking pizza is. Look at this man. Did you see a picture of him? That is a man you say, when he's like, where's the pizza? You go, it's over to the right, sir. Why are you hiding it from him? I don't care if you're a security guard or not. He beat the fuck out of this guy. Obviously he's got major anger issues, but Jesus, just like let him have the fucking pizza. He just wanted a slice. Yeah, apparently he was quoted, where the fuck is the pizza? Just wild. Let the man fucking have his pizza. But I was talking to Rob Eiler about that actually off mic. He was saying that there are some fucking hotels and casinos in Vegas that are like super amazing. Like they got chandeliers, blah, blah, blah. But their food is such dog shit that you're like thankful to find just like a slice of pizza like that someplace. So maybe Vontesi was just, I mean, when that man's hungry, you don't hide food from him. Okay. That's a silly thing to do. What else did we have in news? Oh, something else. Speaking of food and perhaps getting the munchies, I'm excited for this news because this is going to lead to hilarity, or it could lead to epicness. I mean, the directions are going to be boundless for which way this is going to go. And that is the fact that the NBA is no longer testing for marijuana. I wish I had angel noises. How fun is that going to fucking be? Think about it. You're going to have some players who are going to excel to levels of which we have never seen. We might see a new Michael Jordan, a new LeBron. Hell, I mean, when they start smoking weed, they're going to start playing out of their fucking minds. Let's look at the athletes who smoke weed on the record. You have Michael Phelps, Olympic gold medalist, of the likes of which we will never see again. Josh Gordon, for the small amount of time that he was allowed to play NFL football before they banned him from the league for smoking so much weed, he was breaking records. Now I want to find out who's going to do that in the NBA, and I'm also excited to find out whose career it ruins. That's going to be even more exciting. You know there's going to be dudes epically fated to play the game, and some of them are going to play it fantastically, and then some of them are going to play it and they're going to be trash on the court, and that's going to be exciting too. So this is going to be one of the most, and I'm trying, I'm going to say it and declare it here on the podcast, I'm really going to try with the NBA this year. It's as far as the 4 major sports in America, it is my distant fourth as far as my following it and my knowledge of it, but I've joined a fantasy basketball league because the best way to learn about something is to gamble on it. So that's why I've decided to do that, and so I'm going to get better this year, and I think what a wonderful year to do it, with weed being legal. And now I can't wait to see guys on the bench all faded out of their mind, and then, you know, the coach is calling them to go in, and they're like, huh? And then they have to go in and try to play basketball. Man, what would you think, Annie, if they drug tested here at your mom's house? And they were like, by the way, we're done doing that. Would you be elated? Would you perform better?
That'd be a pretty fun weekend, my man. Be a pretty fun weekend.
Just a weekend, huh?
I mean, that would be like one of the funnest weekends, and then we'd keep going after that.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, I would lose my job if we got drug tested here. Wouldn't be good.
That's the shitty part. Like, and I don't know about athletics. Like, I always thought I did better on drugs, but that's entertainment. Do you know what I mean? Like, when I go on stage, I hit a bowl before I go on stage, or I'll smoke a joint, just to kind of like zen me out a little bit. You know what I mean? Same with this a little bit. as far as athletics go, I would think it would be the same thing. Like if Josh Gordon, who by the way, again, broke fucking NFL records and was blazing before the games, I don't see why that's such a problem. I mean, they made him go to fucking rehab and he has to go around saying he has a problem. And maybe, he does. But at the end of the day, he was performing at a level that not many people do. Michael Phelps got in trouble for ripping a bong. It's like, yeah, but he swims like he can rip a bong probably better than everybody. He probably can rip 17 bongs. Look at that lung capacity. The dude's underwater for 1,000 years. And he could probably let the guy rip bongs. Who gives a shit? Those lungs, I mean, could you imagine the bong rip that Michael Phelps can take down? Fuck. I want to see it. But yeah, he had to come out and apologize and all that kind of shit for fucking smoking weed. Now I'm excited to finally see what can be done. And I hope other drugs come aboard too, I hope they're like cocaine, whatever, and then we're going to see some real shit go down. Then you're going to want to start watching hockey, folks. I actually don't even know if they test for cocaine in hockey because I hear it's pretty prevalent out that way. Cocaine and Molly, big hockey drugs. Oh, before we move on from sports, this is kind of an old story by this point, but I wanted Ennie's input on it because Scottie Pippen, his ex-old lady, is stepping out on him a bit and it's not really embarrassing Scottie. It's more their son, Scottie Pippen Jr., who's a freshman at Vanderbilt, just trying to play college ball, maybe get back and get good enough to get in the league. He's got to wake up in the morning and fucking open his phone and go on Twitter and see that his mom is getting piped by a fucking current NBA player. That can't be good for the head. Have you seen this woman, Annie? Larsa Pippen?
I haven't heard about it.
Well, pull up Larsa Pippen and Malik Beasley. There's an image going around of them together. This is what kind of outed them. Malik Beasley, by the way, who is in the league, he's in the NBA. He is married. So that's what kind of put a little in this story here. Do you have an image of her?
I'm looking for it. One sec.
Larsa Pippen. Larsa Pippen. There you go. And then Malik Beasley is just Mlik. And there's a picture of them walking in the mall together, like holding hands. There you go. That's it right there. They went out in public holding hands like this. And I was on The Fighter and the Kid. I mentioned this too. They brought it up. It's like the dude is 6'9". It's like you're going to get wrecked. I don't care if he's like, oh, I have the mask on so no one will know who I am. It's like you're fucking 6'9", bro. You're going to get recognized, especially when you're walking next to those cans. I mean, Jesus. Same thing with her. It's like, I know those cans. That's Larsa Pippen. No one's like deterred by the mask.
Did he deny it though?
Yeah, he was. I mean, well, him and they were doing some flirty shit on the gram. And then Malik Beasley's wife took to her stories on her gram and was like, I can't believe it. I'm shocked. I don't even know this man. They all choose to do this publicly, which I find absolutely wild. But Larsa Pippen has quite the resume of, she was with Future at one point, another NBA person. So she's got a laundry list of dicks that she's hopped aboard. And I'm just wondering, if you're Scottie Pippen Jr., how do you go play ball in college? You got a lot of shit talk coming your way, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure he'd be the clown of the century. So,
like, what if your mom was fucking Future, and then she's got Malik Beasley? I mean, these guys aren't that much older than poor Scottie Pippen Jr. How do you? What would your defense be? How would you deal with those hecklers?
I'd probably just go fuck Malik's mom.
You'd have to fuck Malik's mom, right?
Yeah, that's the only way to make it even.
Yes, that's true. Or his wife.
That's not good enough. I needed to hit harder, because then it would just be a comparison of whose wife is, and I don't need that. How about just the mom? I mean, remember who was that? Delonte West. That nigga's homeless now. So
that's because he fucked LeBron's mom, though.
He's homo. Shit.
Yeah, he fucked LeBron's mom, and now LeBron made him homeless, allegedly. I'm not... LeBron, don't come after me. But yeah, that was what happened there. He was the fucker. Well, he was the motherfucker, if you will.
Would you say Scottie Pippen is just as powerful as LeBron James?
No, and here's the thing. Scottie Pippen, I don't think cares, but his son, Scottie Pippen Jr., is the one who has to deal with all the flack, you see, and I don't find him to be as he definitely doesn't have the power that LeBron has. So yeah, he would have to do something like you said and fuck Malik Beasley's mom.
That's the only way. I mean, it has to be even. You're right. I'd be clowned on the whole. I mean, even in school when you were clowned on, what'd you have to do? You had to go beat up the dude that was talking shit, right?
That's the thing. And he can't physically fight these people. That would be a bad look. But everyone, by the way, Mr. Pippen Jr., if you fought somebody on an opposing team during a game because he was talking shit about your mom, we all know what's up. It's okay. You know what I mean? No one's looking down on you for doing that. But yeah, I think that's great advice for Scottie Pippen Jr. Go fuck Malik Beasley's mom. That's the only course of action. I don't even know. Can you Google Malik Beasley's mom? Does she have an image out there? I doubt it. I doubt she has an image. Oh, is that her at the draft?
Not sure.
That could very well be. Can you zoom in?
Yeah, it says Malik Beasley's NBA journey made possible with his father's something. So
okay, zoom in on her. Let's zoom in on her for me because I can't really see from where I am. Can you make it bigger? Is she on the right or the left, do you believe?
It gotta be on the left, right? I think right's
his
like
right. On his right?
On his right.
In?
Yeah, right.
All right. All right, there you go, Scottie Pippen Jr. You got to take her down to Chinatown. That's fine. She's beautiful. Good. You know, so it's not too much of a hit. I don't know if the man on the to her right, the father, I don't know if he's going to be on board, but, you know, this is the collateral damage you have to deal with, Scottie Pippen Jr., if you want to survive this whole thing, you know? But what do you say? Oh, I wanted to talk about this real quick, too, because this just happened last night. Des Bryant is fucking losing his mind. Last night, the Ravens played the Steelers, and that also, I wanted to bring it up because this is the reason we haven't been able to update you on Ennie's QB situation in his picks, and I'm just kind of waiting till the season wraps up because of the fact that they keep changing games and moving them to days of the week that football should not be played on, and we keep taping different times, so it's just all wonky and out of sorts. So once everything catches up to everybody else, it just wouldn't be fair to show it from where it stands because it would be totally different by the time this episode appears and things like that. So that's why we haven't done it, but because of all the melee and the hullabaloo with all the mix-ups and changes of scheduling with COVID, the Ravens had to play the Steelers on fucking Tuesday this week or whatever the hell it was. And Des Bryant, right before the game, right when warm-ups are happening, I don't know when they do the testing, but he tested positive for COVID. And then he did what any rational-minded person would do. He took to Twitter and started losing his mind and was like, I fucking, I tested positive. He's the one who broke the news. He tested positive. And then he said, I'm going to quit this season. That's a wrap. He just said he was going to just up and quit in the warm-ups. And then he started tweeting pictures of his wine he was drinking. It was very bizarre. And it brought up another person who quit kind of similarly to me was Vontae Davis. Back in the day, back in the Bills, he retired in the middle of halftime. Just when the team went to the locker room and he was like, I'm done. And they're like, what do you mean you're done? For like the next play, and he's like, no, I'm done for the game, I'm leaving. And he like got in his car and went home, and everyone was like, what the fuck? And he was like, yep. And he just never came back, and he retired after the first half of football, and everyone was flabbergasted. Turns out he had some like, he was a little like this. And so this, though, Des Bryant is so bizarre because, he had all this time with the Dallas Cowboys where he had the successes of his career, and then they didn't renew his contract, and he fought back and got on the Saints and tore his Achilles and fought back from that, and he's no spring fucking chicken, and now he gets another shot with the Ravens this season, finally, and then he tests positive for COVID last night. Now, granted, it was a revenge game against the Cowboys, one that he was looking forward to for sure. But because of that, he just goes, I quit. It's just such a bizarre move. I'm sure he's going to regret it. And I think he already does, because by the end of the fucking game, he was like, great team win, guys. And it's like, yo, you quit the team 2 seconds ago. Didn't you just quit? You don't get to go good team win after you fucking quit. It's fucking bizarre. But let's get into the hard-hitting news, especially because we have some remixes of the old news theme song. Isn't that right? So let's hear some of those before we get into it, and they'll kick us off. And he's got the list. Thank you for submitting those, by the way, to Josh Potter's show at ymhstudios.com. Let's get into them.
All right, yeah, man. I got these for you. We got 5 of them. So here's
Dope.
the first one.
Ba-dum-bum. Ba-dum-bum.
Damn!
Ooh, we had a little OJ in there. That one was hard hitting. Good. I like it. Keep them coming.
Here you go.
Man, oh man. You know what I'm finding? The ones that have less of me in them are my favorite. Let's keep them moving.
Time to get serious with the news.
Oh yeah, baby. That's great. I love that one right there. That's like you know when NBC has they're lighting the Christmas tree. That's what kind of reminded me of. You know, the little remix of the news. All right, keep them coming. Oh yeah, that sounded like one that Grandma would call the cops on. I liked it. We only have one more, right?
Last one.
That one was the most straightforward. That one was a great way to get into the news. Wonderful indeed. Thank you so much for your submissions. Keep them coming. Josh Potter Show at ymhstudios.com. And to kick off the news today, we have an interesting story about something that could have occurred to you during the lockdown. Now, I'm not locked in with a spouse or a girlfriend. None of us here at the studio are, because that's gross. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I mean, not all of us are just single, so we don't have this problem, but I'd imagine it's occurring quite a bit out there. The headline reads, a husband went for a bit of a walk to calm down after an argument with his wife, something that we can all maybe relate to, as I mentioned. Well, he ended up walking for 280 miles to get away from his wife. That's more than a fucking cool down. That is to probably escape, I don't know, child support. I mean, that is... You are crossing a state line, most likely there. He got fined, by the way, for what? For breaching coronavirus lockdown regulations. I didn't even know that that was fucking possible. And I live in a lockdown place, and I go for fucking walks all the time. And this is in Italy, by the way, so that's probably why, because it's not America where they say, stay home, don't go for walks. And then we're like, all right, up yours. I'm going to fucking do it anyways. In Italy, if you do it, you're fucked. This unnamed Italian man... because they didn't want to release it. He hiked for a week in an attempt to calm himself down after arguing with his wife. Good God, what could they have possibly been arguing about? The 48-year-old man, that's not a young dude, he left Como, which is in the northern part of Italy, traveled 280 miles south over a period of a week. He walked about 40 miles a day in an attempt to soothe his anger, according to The Independent. Eventually, the man reached Fano, a beach resort on the Adriatic coast. Across Italy, current lockdown regulations mean that a nationwide curfew is in place between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m., very much like a Los Angeles. The police, performing a standard search for rule breakers, came across the man roughly at 2 a.m. Now, I don't know that they're doing that around here, that they're patrolling around here. Like, I think they've got bigger fish to fry than if a guy is going for a bit of a stroll. They questioned the man and were reportedly shocked to discover that he'd covered such a distance. After inputting his details into a database, the police confirmed that, in fact, his wife had reported him missing. Subsequently, they fined him 400 euros. which is about $485 US for breaching the curfew. They then put him up in a hotel, according to the Italian newspaper, in Resto del Calino. So the guy got a fucking hotel out of it, got to get away from his wife. Sounds like that's the right way to go. It doesn't say what they argued about, though. What could make a guy walk 280 miles? What sort of argument steamed him up that much? It's like no more blowjobs forever. Like, can you think of anything? Can you think of an argument that would bug you that much?
Yeah, if my girl fucked my teammate and now I'm getting clowned on for the whole year, that'd probably make me do it.
Yeah, I mean, that would do it, but I don't even know if I would just leave her. Like, what kind of cool, like, he's going to go back? He's like, I had to cool down? It's like, all right, man, now you're cool. Now what? You're going to walk back home? I mean, what a fucking, he's kind of TikToked here.
Maybe he ain't got options.
This is all he told the paper. I'm fine. I'm just a little tired. He also revealed during his journey, strangers offered him food and drinks. Oh, cool. So you're a hobo now. I would make my wife, I'm just saying, if I got into an argument with my wife, she's the one walking 280 miles, not me. Get the fuck out of here. That shit. Right? And I'm going to get married soon.
Fuck yeah. Fuck him.
Fuck yeah. Fuck him. This one Annie sent me that he got, I believe, did you get this one from a user? Or a listener, excuse me, Sean.
Yeah,
yes, that's what it says at the top.
Wait, which
right?
one are you looking at?
We are the locked in an apartment for 28 years.
Yeah, that one's from Sean.
This sounds like it could be my future. But here it reads, a man, 41, who had no teeth and could barely speak, was locked into an apartment for 28 years by his mother. A mother, age 70, has been arrested on suspicion of unlawful deprivation of liberty and grievous bodily harm. She is believed to have kept her 41-year-old son captive for around 28 years. It's wild. A relative discovered the man in a Stockholm flat covered in urine, dirt, and dust. So, yeah, I mean, he wasn't just chilling in there, I guess. Some bad things were happening as well. The man was taken to the hospital to be treated for non-life-threatening injuries. The elderly woman denies the allegations. I don't know how you deny an allegation when there's, piss on him and stuff like that, but the proof is in the piss, lady. According to the prosecutors, a 70-year-old was arrested on Tuesday on suspicion of unlawful deprivation of liberty and grievous bodily harm. As I mentioned, the police have now sealed off the apartment in suburban Stockholm and are seeking witnesses. An unidentified female relative discovered the 41-year-old man. She entered the unlocked flat. Oh, it was unlocked, so I guess people just weren't walking into this place too often enough. And so this woman finally did, and after learning that the man's mother had been admitted to a hospital over the weekend, so she must have gotten sick or something, went to the hospital. They're like, we'll go get her purse. And then they find the urine-covered 41-year-old. She told the paper that the apartment was like walking into a horror movie. The man was covered in urine, dirt, and dust and smelled rotten. His body was pockmarked with wounds and pus, and he was missing teeth, all of his teeth. He was also unable to speak coherently. The relative called for an ambulance, and the man was subsequently taken to the hospital and treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Olsen told the news agency he is now in hospital. I know that he needed surgery. It was believed that the mother first imprisoned her child when he was around 13. He was taken out of school when he was in 7th grade. And then it was explained by the relative that the family was dysfunctional. Okay. Yeah, I'd say so. Love a good understatement. The mother had become overprotective of her son, losing a child some years earlier, according to the relative. The mother denies all the allegations, according to local police, and an investigation is ongoing. So she lost a child earlier on and became wildly overprotective, shielding him from the outside world and toothpaste and toothbrushes and not allowing him to take care of those, and also, making sure she didn't shield him from the urine inside the home. She didn't do that apparently because he was covered in that. But how do you, if you're a 41-year-old man, at some point it's like, this old lady, I'm telling her what to do. You know what I mean? Like, how do you get imprisoned by an elderly woman other than being obviously mentally coerced into it? Because eventually I would just be like, wait a second, I can break your arm, lady. Pretty easily. I feel like one day I'd wake up and just go, if I just go, this is all over. I don't know. I'd like to go outside at some point. But yes, this is one of those stories that like, there needs to be a book about it or a movie on Netflix or something that gives you the details as to the poison this woman was putting into her child's mind to keep him there. Because like I said, just one, and that old lady, old news, no more prison. Easiest prison to get out of ever. The door was unlocked. But as the holidays approach, let's get to a nice story. Jingle bells, jingle bells. The headline reads, Buddy the Elf joke baffles dad in first meeting with son. We all know the old elf story, don't we? I remember the first time I saw Elf was the second time I smoked marijuana. And I got so high, I ate an entire bag. It was the only time I ever had munchies. You know, like I say, you get munchies. It was the only time I ever really had that. I ate an entire bag of Sun Chips. And I couldn't, not a small bag, like one of the family size bags. And then I remember feeling Sun Chips in my body, when I moved. So I don't remember anything about the story of Elf from watching it. I sat and I had my eyes on it. I wasn't looking at my phone, but I couldn't tell you a single thing that happened in it. But I read up on it because of this story. And it turns out Buddy the Elf is played by Will Ferrell. And he goes to meet his dad, who is... what's his name? James Caan. And he meets him for the first time, and it's like, holy shit, my son's an elf, and it's, hilarity ensues. Well, someone took this film, and they decided, I'm going to meet my dad for the first time, so I'll dress like Buddy the Elf, and it'll be hilarious. It'll be just like the movie. Well, Doug Henning embraced his father's Raoul for the first time in his life at Boston's Logan International Airport this past week. For the meeting, Henning wore a similar costume to that of Buddy the Elf. He's 43 years old, and he came in singing the same awkward song that Buddy sings in the film when he meets his biological father. I don't know how the song goes, so I'm going to try my best here. I'm here with my dad, and we never met. Is that how it goes? Have you seen the movie?
I've never seen the movie.
Okay, so he sings this song, which I don't know again, but nevertheless, when he sings it, I'd imagine this is alarming to the guy. He's like, great, this guy's fucking singing. He sang excitingly. He jumped up and down, and he had this green outfit on. This is a picture of him you can see on the screen here. Mr. Henning, a camera operator from Elliott, Maine, said his father probably thought I was a lunatic when I came out of the airport. It was a really good way to break the ice. However, Mr. Henning's father had not seen the film and hence appeared a bit confused in the video of their meeting. And so we don't have the video, but you can imagine this fucking guy's like, great, I fucking jizzed out a TikTok here, and now I got to meet him, and I wonder, do they have his special chair? Do they have his medicine? All these things that he probably had wash over him when he met his child. He's like, oh, great, my child's a fucking R-word.
I don't know about you, but I look at that picture, and I feel like he found the wrong dude. I think he needs to keep looking.
Wait, go back to the picture. I didn't even see that. Can you pull it up for me? That's a good point. Oh, interesting. Yeah, his name is Raoul, by the way, and his is like Mr. Henning. So yeah, I don't...
yeah.
And then he has the elf costume. I'd be like, I think we need to do a visit to Maury here. I
feel like he's taking the old dude's taking this picture right now, like, oh, is this crazy guy? I'll just take a picture and he'll go away, right?
Yeah, it's like, thank God he's beyond child support age, but for sure I'm doing a DNA check. I'm doing a big time DNA check. Let's look at some viewer feedback before we call it a day, shall we? Over here, let's see what we got here. We got a whole bunch of... Thank you for sending it in, by the way. You can send your emails to joshpottershow@ymhstudios.com. This one comes to us by way of Damon. He says, big fan of the show. I need some roommate advice. I'm a college student living with several other guys, and I have had constant issues with one roommate stealing food without asking. Do you have any advice for this? Well, Damon, my advice is... I've had roommates over the years, and they would describe living with me like living with a ghost. I am never around. There is never evidence that I was ever in any place. I don't put food in my fridge. That is my advice to you, is to just never eat at home. I never eat, period. Just don't eat. That is the best way to go about it. No, I don't know. I really have never had that problem because I usually buy things that people have no business. They don't want to eat my food. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I've never experienced that issue. Now, I know, Annie, you have a bit of a compound of sorts that you live in. Have you ever experienced this dilemma?
No, we don't have like specific food, or it's like, this is mine. I mean, we buy for everybody, but
how does that work?
What do you mean? Like,
how does it work buying for everybody?
Like, today I want to get pizza. I'm just going to be like, you guys want pizza? And if they say yeah, then I buy pizza. And that's it. It's not like a this is my pizza, don't get a fucking slice thing, That's kind of weird.
Yeah, but like, say you bought cereal and you're just like, everyone likes Cocoa Puffs. So yeah. I get that. All right.
I would get more Cocoa Puffs in that case. If I knew someone else was going to eat it, I'd just get more. But if I did have this problem, just fuck his mom. I mean, that's
that is a good remedy for a lot of things. I think that might be the new motto of the show as far as advice goes. Do you have a problem? Fuck their mom. So there you go, Damon. I mean, either don't eat or fuck their mom. No, but I mean, you could do what Annie says too and just buy food for everybody. I think that's a statement that's another thing. So Annie's basically saying, hey, Damon, why don't you stop being a selfish prick and share your fucking food, you fucking jerk, huh? But no, just, I don't know, write your fucking name on it. What do you want me to tell you? This one comes from Dan on Long Island. As a fellow premature man with retinopathy issues, I only have one eye as well that is nearsighted. You're a true inspiration. Can you tell some interesting or funny stories about instances with your eyes? Well, Dan, I don't have any funny or interesting stories. Most of them involve me not seeing things. That's usually how it goes. I've had, I think Nadav can attest to one. I'll just, because he was here so he could say it. There was a period of time, and I don't know if it happens often here in California, in Southern California, but there was a time when there were so many butterflies outside. It was like a real, I don't know, it was like a biblical tale, the way that there was so many. What is that?
It was a migration. It was a migration of the monarch butterflies in Los Angeles.
Right. Okay. So these butterflies are everywhere, flying all around. And I'm riding in the car with Nadav, and apparently, according to Nadav, he goes, wow, look at how many fucking butterflies there are, or something to that effect. And I just was like, I couldn't see any of the butterflies.
Yeah, it was crazy because I'd never seen that many butterflies, like, just out and about, and they're just going just in one direction.
Like a flock.
Right, it was a flock of butterflies, and I was like, whoa, Potter, do you see all these butterflies? And you're like, nope. And then I laughed so hard we almost got into a car accident.
Yeah, because they were like almost blocking out the sun. That's how many butterflies there were.
It was insane.
It was a giant swarm. So yeah, I mean, I just, and then, so here's the thing, Dan from Long Island, I have a lot of those where I can't see great. And, I have a lot of moments where I see a woman who is blonde and I assume it's a friend, and I'll be like, what's up? And then that's an awkward thing when you walk up to a strange woman and you say something to her, and she's like, holy shit, what the fuck? So yeah, those things happen all the time. This one from Ben in Detroit. Hey guys, so far, this is the only podcast I've found that starts with murder, dismemberment, and other crimes against humanity, but ends on sports news. Huge fan, finally a podcast for the rest of us. Well, isn't that so, Ben? Thank you for your feedback. And finally, from Eric, it says, I was so thrilled to hear about Lennon and McCartney and their buds having some innocent, definitely not gay fun together. That was the story, of course, of the Beatles, Lennon and McCartney, jaying their D's together in a big jerk sesh. Seems I was the only one of my coworkers that had group jack sessions with my bros growing up. Thanks for your top-notch news reporting. I feel completely validated. Interesting coworker conversation. I heard something the other day. You guys ever jerk your dicks with your friends as your kids? Well, I gotta take this. Yeah, Larry. No, I said sell. But anywho, yeah, You guys jerking it with your friends back in the day? It was recently the I don't know, the whatever anniversary of John Lennon being assassinated. So we have to say thank you to Mark David Chapman, of course, as we do on the year. So thank you, Mark David Chapman, for doing what you did. Also, before we get out of here, I do want to plug a few things that are going on in the YMH universe. We have a brand new website up that you can find everything housed at ymhstudios.com. And also, we have a brand new store where we, here at the Josh Potter Show, will be getting some merch at some point here very soon. Look forward to it. People keep asking me about it. It is coming down the pipe. So get excited and keep your eyes peeled to store.ymh.com. Did I fuck that up?
Store.ymhstudios.
I don't know why I fucked that up. I know that. Store.ymhstudios.com. Right?
You got it.
Fuck yeah.
Nailed it.
Don't know why I fucked that up. Nevertheless, thank you for your user feedback, your listener feedback. Thank you for submitting more instrumentals, more remixes. I love all of it, and it can all be submitted. Josh Potter Show at ymhstudios.com. We will see you once again next week. Thank you for joining the show, and thank you to Eni, Nadav, and Zolo, as always.